This strap arrived broken. I'm going to have to see about fixing it. Hopefully I'll be able to. The belt. It's the belt in the back. Now I'm going to take out the parts and open up the components. This is the component box that came with the unit. Inside the unit contains the following: SanDisk SDHC card, 4 gigabytes. Standard US power cord. A spool of PLA. In black. Lucky me, I didn't get pink. Get that out of the way. The HEPA filter and fan assembly goes in the back. The Wi-Fi antenna. The extruder and its dual drive clone extruder type. It's already got the hammer nuts on it. Mounting for the spool. Little bitty bag of tools. Some nuts. One loose nut here. The filament runout sensor. And the handles for the top, the nut and the hammer nut and the screw are from the hammer, the handles. So that's what's in this box. Next step is to get these ties cut and remove those mounts on the bottom, and then get the one here on the cable chain, and then I'm going to have to fix that belt in the back. Darn it, that's going to be a chore. Okay, on to the next step. You can now see here the fan mounted with 4 bolts that go threaded into the acrylic. So that's where that's going. And over here, the wiring for the 3 items that go on the outside, which are the fan, needless to say, the extruder until the direct drive kit comes out, and the filament runout sensor. And that's it for this step. Bowden tube has been passed through the hole up on the top of the filter, coming around to the extruder there on the back. The filament sensor hangs there and is held up literally by the filament going into this piece here. I'm going to have to do something about that. I'll probably have to print something and figure out what I'm going to do to make that be a little more steady. Fans are connected and the extruder is connected. I have patched that gates belt, and I have put in its put it back to tension. So we should be ready to fire it up momentarily. The unit is now powered on, and we're going to get ready to start doing a macro test. Fingers crossed. So we're running the macro right now to heat up the bed and get everything ready to go as we're going to load filament. So now the next step here is we're going to hit macro and filament and PLA load. And gotta follow up on that. Had some problems with the macro screen for activating the Wi-Fi. I'm gonna try and work on that remotely. I have attached a Raspberry Pi with Octoprint, and we'll be doing some screen captures to add to show how this works. So far it's okay. I mean, you know, I understand it's come a long way and had to get through it. It did level itself, which was amazing. It was like the whole bed balanced itself. It's just rocks on. Filament load process was pretty straightforward and it did a nice job of it. One thing though is that the macros take a few seconds to act. It's not instantaneous, so you got to be patient, and that's what's going on there. So moving on to the next stage, we'll see if I can get it to connect to Octoprint, and then I'll try and get that first test print going. Okay, first print is underway. Sent the test print via the web console. Had to do some interesting things to make my work on my network. It's now doing the it's now styling to level the bed, and here it goes. Very quiet. Now it's doing a full bed leveling. Doesn't look like it's going to be a good start as it is. Seems to be under extruding a bit. I may have to look at this and see what's going on. Well, we'll see what happens. What we have happening here is a burn-in test that is running for 36 hours. It's a long print, nothing spectacular, not a fancy thing at all, but something that I needed to print and we needed to get this done. So we'll see how it turns out. Here we are, 30 hours in on a 35-hour print. Looks pretty good. It's done at medium quality, so it's not that hot, but you see over here there was a small bugaboo. See if I can zoom in on it. Right there, but it recovered very nicely from it. So far so good. Well, after finishing my initial tests and I got the prints done, the box completed successfully, and then I printed a second box that had was for the cat food for at night, and that one was printed with a black PLA filament that was shipped with the printer. Strangely enough, that filament behaved a lot better than the yellow matte filament I was using in the first test. It did not crack. There wasn't as much flexing when it came to the walls, the part of the walls that had holes in them, because the yellow did flex a lot. So it was a lot more flexible. And it generally came out to be a much better print. Yes, there was some layer lines. This is like an unadjusted printer. So I have to admit that for not having done any E-stepping corrections, not having done any Z-height adjustment, it did a very nice job. Now, is it worth the $14.99? Considering that a similarly priced Voron would be well over $2,500. It's pretty much a bargain. Yes, they need to really work on packing it a lot better. They may need to see about putting some sort of cardboard or foam insert on the inside of the case to prevent the chassis from being from the gantry, the gantry from being jostled around during travel, which caused one of the belts to come apart on me. Like I said, I managed to fix that with a couple of zip ties, so it wasn't a very big deal. I have been hearing a lot from folks online saying that for the price you pay for this printer, it should be in much better condition. I hear you, and to be honest, I don't think they had a lot of practice getting the packaging done correctly since the COVID crisis stopped them, and they hadn't been able to get a lot of feedback from their customers. And we have been giving them feedback, so they should be able to maybe improve their packaging and pack the insides a little bit better so there is less breakage. They may want to consider using high wind rails instead of the knockoff rails that they use, because there's been some quality control issues. I was fortunate enough to have a nice good set of rails, and I did give them a little treatment with Marvel Mystery Oil prior to starting into that 35-hour print. Going forward, I have received the dual drive extruder upgrade, which will move the extruder from the back of the printer onto the print head. It is based on the Orbiter print head. It's based on the Orbiter extruder that is available on Thingiverse, and so far I've heard some pretty good things about it. So hopefully I should have some more news on that very shortly, as I plan to do that this weekend. So thank you for watching, and keep on printing.